Okay, this is my basic car kit that I picked up at Dollar General. Was some people that I know that didn't have anything and they were asking. My recommendation is you get some sort of box, and after this spring when this car went swimming on me and I found out that many things weren't as waterproof as what they say, or I didn't have them waterproof because I never really expected to put a car in water. Things happen. But I found this at this Dollar General. These are probably the most expensive bit of the kit, and it's under $12. And it does actually have a good seal in it and locks tight, which I recommend for other reasons too, because if you have something in it and it leaks, it don't come out. So it works both ways. There's a few things that I would add to this kit we'll get to later, but this is exactly what I got from the Dollar General. Generally, sometimes their stuff kind of varies, so you kind of got to mix and match if you're putting it together. And this is basically one trip. So for a cooking pot, they usually will have some round stainless steel bowls or something. There wasn't any, so this little bread pan or cake pan, whatever I got, well, that was a couple of bucks. That'll be your cooking container. The stove is just an old food can with cardboard rolled up in it. The fuel is Crisco, and you just set it in there. Use your lighter that you got from there to ignite it. So that'll be what you need for that. And then if you have to cook, you don't do it inside the vehicle. You go outside, find some sticks, build up something around it, rocks, whatever, to set your pan on, because you want to keep a gap between the stove and the bottom of the pan, otherwise you'll cut the air off and it won't burn. The other bit is, if something happens and like snow or something, you slide your car off the road or whatever and you have to stay with it for a while, don't leave the vehicle, especially like in a bad snowstorm or something like that. Usually it's safer in the vehicle. If you roll the vehicle over or something, that's why you have the box. You can grab it and get out. In that situation, if the car is really tilted, you won't be able to stay in it. So that would be the only other thing. Most of the time inside of a vehicle, they're better protected, unless, if you break all the windows out and things like that, then it's time to get out or seal it up somehow. Normal situations, a candle will keep the inside, even in the winter, will keep the inside of the car tolerable. I picked up these three for $1 each. And you could set them inside of another tin. Tea candles, you could actually light them and set them on the dash, and they'll provide a bit of heat. And this bundle, I think, was $1. A couple of spoons for $1 each, I think, or they were a 3-pack for $1. I don't remember. They were cheap. That goes in. Now, if you have to get out and for shelter, they didn't have any plastic sheet when I was in there. So this is a shower liner, and they'll have holes in the top, so you take your twine and you can rig it up to a stick, whatever, rocks in the corners, tie around it, and you can set up basically a half a shelter to keep rainwater off or even block the wind. That'll go in, and that wasn't very expensive. I was hoping that they actually had emergency blankets, but they didn't. So my next best option at that point was large trash bags. The tougher and the thicker, the better, and the bigger. These aren't very big. Their selection was somewhat limited in the one I went into. So what I would do with this is cut the bottom out of one, slip it over a second one, the opening, and tape it together with your duct tape that I found there. And that would make sort of an impromptu sleeping bag if you had to sleep out of your vehicle. And in that case, you would stuff it full of dry grass and leaves and stuff like that for insulation. It's not ideal, but it will work. And combined with a fire that you would make with your lighter and whatever else that you had, that would actually probably get you through. You won't be comfortable and it won't be like at home in your bed, but it would be better than nothing. And since we built a stove and have a cook surface, you could actually boil water in the pan. You could make this and add tuna to it, whatever you works. But this, I got the Dollar General. You'd want to add a little bit of food to it. So whatever sort of food that you happen to like, you can get this stuff for under $2 if you watch. 2 for $3. It's whatever you like or will eat if you have to. And it's cheap enough that it doesn't really matter, that you can cart it around and whatnot. The only thing that I would add that I didn't really see in there when I was in there, and I would probably get a little better than probably what they carry, I would roll up a wool blanket and stick in here. And probably some like playing cards or something along that line. You can use actually the box lid to play solitaire, something to keep your mind busy, because that's the one thing in any situation that most people have problems with, is they sit there and dwell on their situation. A lot of times if you get something mundane to do, your mind will work around a problem while you're doing something else. And I know it does me. If you sit there and focus on it, you tend to tunnel vision, and that's a bad thing in that sort of situation. So this is my Dollar General kit. It isn't very expensive. You can pick it up pieces at a time. I would add water to this, a couple bottles of water, things along that line. And you just flesh it out to what your skill level is. I would probably put a couple more lighters in there and tape the lighters up to where they don't leak, because Murphy will say that when you need it, it's going to be empty. But this is a basic general kit from Dollar General. It's fairly easy. There isn't a whole lot of thinking or worrying about doing. It's just pick it up, put it in your car, forget about it. The only downside to this is the wax in here. You'll have to watch if you have a hot summers and stuff like that. Put them in a Ziploc bag, because this wax will walk and it'll get into stuff. But if you have it in a Ziploc bag, it won't really matter, and you can use it later. Same way with the Crisco. If you use this, let it cool off, it'll solidify in the stove, and then put that in a plastic bag. But short of the blanket and the water, this is your basic kit, and that's all it is. It'll ride in the trunk. This sort of thing, I have one of these in the trunk in the trunk of this car, and I'll have all my liquids in there, oils, water, things along that line, because if one of them breaches, it don't get nasty all over the car. But these are handy, pretty simple.